Hi there, this is David and welcome to New RPG News. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today, from some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, to some Dragon Quest, to some new game announcements, to some shakeups happening with Xbox and Sony as well, and of course our News of the Weird. But we're going to start here with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I mean, this is an RPG news show. Where else could you possibly start? So we have a lot of new details here on regions, exploration, world intelligence, and minigames, combat. And I'm just going to go through this article really quickly, just kind of giving you an overview of what you can expect. And just to look at the pictures, because look at this Grasslands picture. It is absolutely gorge! It just, absolutely gorgeous. I love how there's you can see the little chocobo thing down here, the little stalls and everything. There's kind of an abandoned aqueduct over there, the bridge over the river. This is probably calm over there in the distance. It's so cute. I just can't even stand it. Then there's the Under Yunnan, which you get to explore, which we saw in the first game. You weren't there for very long. If you recall, that was where you had to do that god-awful minigame with the, dolphin? You had to, I don't know, let a dolphin, you had to, jump on top of a dolphin. Well, the dolphin jumped up to, the upper level of Yunnan or something like that. And I think that there was a materia down there that you could grab, too. But I would sit there for 10 minutes till, finally got the stupid dolphin to put me up top. Then there is Yunnan itself that you get to go into. And that other awful minigame that you had to play the first time, where you had to I don't know, you had to do the victory pose or whatever, and you had to impress the president of Shinra, and I would always get up to 90%. I could never get up to 100% and really impress the guy and get the best reward, but that involves button presses and timing, and this is why I play turn-based JRPGs, because I'm not good at button pressing and timing. There's Gold Saucer! Woohoo! So if there's Gold Saucer, then there is North Corel, and you already know what happens over there. There's also Costa del Sol. There's all those mini games and everything else. Then it talks about what to expect whenever you are exploring, such as Chocobo Ranches. There isn't just the one Chocobo Ranch that we saw in the first game. There are Chocobo Ranches all over the place, and it's going to talk about Chocobos a little bit later. Unfortunately, there's also item crafting, because God forbid you make an RPG that doesn't have crafting nowadays. Every single little thing has to have crafting and has to ruin everything that it touches. There wasn't crafting in the first game. We don't need crafting now. There is Odd Jobs, which is essentially your side quest board. You can go up to a little, I don't know, a little, bulletin board or whatever, and you can pick out the side quests that you want to do. So that's a pretty neat addition that I do like. There is Chadley. That Dorkola is back with his little kick me sign. Looking nerdy as ever, but Chadley is back for his intelligence gathering and all that kind of stuff. His little battle simulator train, all that good stuff. There's also Remna Wave towers, which are around the world, and essentially you go to these towers, and whenever you do, it kind of opens up the map, I guess, or it lets you see more of the surrounding area. There was a similar mechanic in Forspoken, where you would go out and you would find these towers, and then it would reveal pieces of the map that were I don't know, grayed out before. So they also probably act as fast travel points and things like that, because the world map is huge. It is massive. Look at this thing. It's just ridiculous. Goes out, talks about combat assignments, which we already kind of know about. That's just strategy and tactics and things like that, and little combat missions that you can do in order to appease Chadley and his little combat simulator. There's excavation sites. Hey, what does this remind you of? It reminds me of Chocobo Hot and Cold from Final Fantasy IX. And I don't know about y'all, but Final Fantasy IX, best Final Fantasy, and also, I loved Chocobo Hot and Cold. I loved, looking at the little map and then trying to find that, map on the world map and using the little clues that the Moogle gave you or what was on the little chocograph to figure out where it was. It was just so much fun and extremely rewarding. So Chocobo Hot and Cold is back, and here you get to see Red riding a Chocobo looking... He's trying his best. Well, he's trying his best. So yeah, there's also little Chocobo stops that you can go to. And you can repair them, and once you do, you can like call a Chocobo, kind of like a bus stop or whatever, and then you get a golden plume once your repair work is done. Fast travel, of course. I'm sure towns and the towers and various other locations will be the fast travel points. We already know about minigames. We talked about Golden Saucer. There's also the piano minigame over in Nibelheim. And it doesn't talk about any minigames over in Yunnan, so hopefully they got rid of those horrible minigames that we had the first time around. There's also a new card game that wasn't in the original game. The first time that a card game was introduced in the Final Fantasy series was with Final Fantasy VIII Triple Triad. And if there's one good thing about Final Fantasy VIII, it's Triple Triad. I've at least got to give that to them. So here we have a card game called Queen's Blood. Hopefully, it is just as good as Final Fantasy VIII's Triple Triad. Also, Moogles have been introduced. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I tried to think back, and I don't think that there's any Moogles in Final Fantasy VII, save for, like, Kate Sith. Like, that's pretty much it. But Moogles are back, and they're absolutely adorable, and it also harkens back to Final Fantasy IX, because you have like a little minigame with them. It says, a minigame to bring mischievous Moogle kids back to their Moog stools. So you have to like find the Moogles around and then bring them back home. So I really like that. I like the little hide and seek sort of thing like that. I think that that's really cool. Talks about the limit break, and I mean, like, where have you been if you don't know what a limit break is? I mean, it's just there. But it also talks about synergy abilities, where two party members can team up together and they can pull off their own abilities, and each pairings of party members has their own synergy ability, kind of like the dual techs in Chrono Trigger. So they are taking a lot of really good ideas from a lot of different past games and kind of combining them all into one here, and I think that this is just going to be fantastic. It is right now, since we don't have a release date for Dragon Warrior 3 and Dragon Warrior 12, as of right now, most anticipated game of next year. Continuing with Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, that's the telephone game that was released, about a month or so ago, is coming to the PC. It is coming to Steam. We don't know when, but we do know that it is coming, and we also do know that you will be able to share your data with the mobile version on the PC. So if you're like me and, you really kind of hate playing games on a telephone, there's just something about it that you just can't really put your finger on, then you'll be happy to know that now you can play this on PC. I did dip my feet into it for a little bit. I played maybe 3 or 4 hours of it here and there, and what I did play, I did enjoy, but again, I just can't do like really long, drawn-out sessions on a telephone. It was like 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 30 minutes here, and yeah. We have some new details on Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince. The demo for this dropped about a week or so ago, and it is long, like longest demo ever. It's kind of ridiculous. So this gives us a little bit more backstory. It talks about some of the characters that you will be meeting, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm just going to read this little story synopsis, then go through a couple of the characters. It says that Sarah's mother Miriam is a human, and his father is the master of the monster kind, Randolpho the Tyrant, making Sarah a demi-human prince of Naderia, which is the monster world. Sadly, Miriam is gravely ill, and Sarah ventures into Naderia to ask his father to cure her sickness. Randolpho rejects his pleas outright and proceeds to curse Sorrow so that he may never harm a creature of monster blood directly, kicking off Sorrow's quest to take revenge against his father's cruelty and rule over Naderia himself. So of course we have Randolpho the Tyrant, who is the main antagonist of the game. We get to see the Zenithan dragon. How cool is that? If you know anything about Dragon Quest, you know that the first 6 games were in a trilogy. The first 3 were in the Erdrick trilogy, 4 through 6 were in the Zenithon trilogy, and you always got to go up to Zenitha, so that's pretty neat. We also get to see Healy, a boy in search of an old friend, a naive young boy who travels the world in search of a long-lost companion. He didn't always look like this, though, so I don't know if we're going to see him as a human before he turns into a heel slime and then he turns back into a human. I think that that's a really cool thing to put into there. And then it also talks about Ludo, an elusive and enigmatic youth. He is a poet. And again, if you recall, various storylines from Dragon Quest IV, there was this wandering poet who wandered into hometown the night before hometown was attacked. And some people were saying that that was sorrow in disguise. Some people were saying that it allowed the monsters to see where hometown was. But yeah, this is him. This is the guy who set off the events of the destruction of hometown. And then it says that the chosen heroes of Dragon Quest IV will also be in there as they set out to stop Sorrow and his cruel ambitions in order to save the world. It would seem that their actions will influence the story too, and judging from their grim expressions, the threat they face is surely a dire one. Then it talks about the places that you can go to, and in the demo, all I was able to go to was Rose Hill, Diabolic Hall, Endor, I'm sorry, these other places, but it says that there's going to be more places than just pretty much Rose Hill and Endor in the upper world, but it doesn't really say where, except it explicitly states Zenitha. So I am looking forward to this and looking forward to see where we get to go in the world of Dragon Quest IV. We got another trailer for Sandland. This is based on a manga from Akira Toriyama, who is the creator of Dragon Quest as well, or at least not the creator, the art director or the art designer of Dragon Quest. That's why it looks so similar. So it goes on the story, and I'm just going to talk about it just very briefly. Essentially, the world has turned into a scorching hot desert, but the king himself is trying to control all the access to water, so everybody has to, bow down to him and pay taxes to him or whatever, in order for them to get water. So the hero sets off on a journey to find a legendary spring, another oasis, capable of ending the drought. So it says, to find this legendary spring, Rao knows that he can't undertake this dangerous journey alone, and he travels to the demon village to seek help. So with consent of the king of the demons, they go off searching the world for this life-saving spring. This is actually by Namco, and I have enjoyed some of these games that they've put out based upon animes and mangas, like the One Piece Odyssey I thoroughly enjoyed that came out earlier this year. This is an action RPG, it's not turn-based, so... And I will say this, I don't really like RPGs or games in general that are based just in deserts, so I wish that it wasn't just in a desert, because I feel like deserts are just boring and brown, and I like more lively, vivacious places to go out and explore. So I'm not so sold on the setting, but hopefully the gameplay and all that makes up for it there. Sword Art Online Last Recollection has a demo out right now that you can play for the PS5, Xbox, PS4, and PC, and all of your save data will be carried over into the full game whenever it launches October 6th. I don't personally, or I have not in the past, played a lot of these Sword Art Online games. I am aware of their existence. I know what they are. And I also know that they're very hit or miss. They're either really good or really bad. But from what I've seen over on the Twitter and looking at various reviews and stuff, people are saying that this one is on the much better end. So if you are into this and you like these games, you might want to check out the demo. I personally am going to check out the demo just because I've never really played one of these games before, and I just really kind of want to see what it's all about, and just kind of get it under my belt so I am more aware of this series. It's a good kind of way for me to test the waters and see if I will like it in the future. Sharon the Wanderer, the mystery dungeon of Serpent Coil Island, is coming west February 27th of next year. This is the 6th entry in the long-running Sharon the Wanderer series, which I think started back on the SNES over in Japan, but it wasn't released over here in the West till quite a bit later. This is a roguelike dungeon crawler, which I personally am not really a fan of. I just think that they're too brutally punishing, because the thing is, for me, whenever I play a game and I make progress in a game, I don't want to lose that progress. You know what I'm saying? Like, I made the progress, it's mine, I want to keep it. So I hate whenever I'm always thinking, like, the back of my mind, oh my gosh, I don't want to get a game over, you know, I don't want to lose or whatever, because if I do, bloop, you're sent back to level 1 and you lose everything, and that sucks. That just sucks to me. So I just can't get into these particular games, but I know that a lot of y'all out there can, so I did want to bring this up. I'm going to go ahead and read the story synopsis right here. It says that Sharon the Wanderer and his companion Copa the Talking Ferret return for an all-new roguelike dungeon-crawling adventure on Serpent Coil Island. After receiving a vision of a mysterious girl held captive by a terrible monster, Sharon and Copa make their way to Serpent Coil Island, a distant isle rumored to be the lost stronghold of treasure-hoarding pirates. Determined to rescue the girl and find the treasure, the two race into danger, only to be soundly defeated, like all others who tried before. So if you're looking forward to this, you know, be sure to grab it. It looks like it's coming out physically, too, which is really nice. Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden are getting physical editions. These are not the Persona 3 Reload thing that's coming out next year. This is the last cash grab that Atlus put out in regards to Persona, so don't get it twisted here. We are getting a limited run of what was normally just a digital thing. So if you want to pick this up, the pre-orders are open on September 29th. This is coming out for the Switch, PS4, and Xbox. I don't know why anybody would want this, considering we are getting Persona 3 Reload in a scant couple of months, but, you know, some people really like their high school RPGs and they just can't get enough of Persona 3. It's like the Tales of Symphonia, where you get remastered, 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 remastered. It's the same thing. It's the same little cash grab thing that they do. So if you want to head on over to Limited Run and grab this, now you can. It looks like there's only a short window of opportunity to grab this. It closes on November 12th. There's a lot of different editions that you can get. Some are much more expensive than the others. The Grimoire edition for $70, which comes with the base game, the slipcover, the book box, and a steelbook case, or the Seas edition, which costs $200, which comes with all of the above, plus an individually numbered certificate of authenticity. Okay. A Seas armband, which you'll never use, character trading cards, which you'll never look at, an official soundtrack, which you'll never listen to, a skull patch, an All Out Attack 3D shadow box. That's kind of cool, though. An All Out Attack 3D. Oh, it's down here. Oh, I see it. That's neat, actually. I kind of like the shadow box. And then a 1x1 Evoker replica shadow box. That's the gun thing right there, too. So there are some cool things in this one for $200, and it does come in like this briefcase thing down there, too. So that is pretty neat, I will say. Is it $200 cash grab neat? No. But that's just me. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Persona that there ever was, and it says that there will be physical editions of Persona 4 Golden coming out as well in the coming weeks. I personally have Persona 3 on the PS2, and I'm happy with it there, and I have Persona 4 Golden on the PS Vita, and I'm happy with that there too myself. Do you like Saga? And did you like the 3DS and all of its RPGs? Well, then you are in luck. The Legend of Legacy HD Remastered is coming out, announced for the PS5, PS4, Switch, and PC, and it's coming out physically! Woohoo! We're going to be going over the limited edition momentarily. This was a turn-based RPG, and it was pretty much Saga, just not in name, you know? It was pretty much a Saga game. It was, you go through, you have 7 characters that you can choose from the start, and you choose which one you want to go with, and then there's 2 other ones of the characters that join you on your journey, and then you go around the world and you discover the mysteries of the Avalon Island. And it has like this storybook like pop-up effect, which to me kind of got a little bit annoying, just to be quite honest with you. And some of the encounters were a bit much as well, if I recall correctly. But this one, I think that this is great. You know, we're getting more turn-based RPGs. We're getting it physically, and this is a classic. More than likely, there is going to be some quality of life features, like, you know, fast forward during battle, maybe some quick travel, maybe not running away, taking you out of the entire dungeon. That would be nice. You know, just some little quality of life improvements, maybe being able to turn off random encounters if you didn't want them, maybe speeding up how quickly you can spark something. So there are some good quality of life additions that they might put into this. We don't know if they are, but hopefully they will. So let's go ahead and read the about if you haven't played this game before. It says, discovered 10 years ago, the island of Avalon is shrouded in mystery. It's said that the continent was forged by gods and elementals and is home to many fabled treasures with immense powers. Numerous brave souls have attempted to venture and investigate the lands of Avalon. Will you be next? Follow the stories of 7 upcoming heroes as they descend upon the uncharted lands to fulfill their unique desires. Each of them has their own individual skills and stories to tell. Manage battle formations and instruct specific combat roles to develop the upper hand in battle and seize victory, and utilize the ancient power of the elementals by forging contracts mid-battle to call down powerful skills. Take part in an epic journey unlike any other. How cool! Here is the collector's edition right here for $80. So this isn't bad. We've seen some other collector's editions for like $100 or whatever. This one's only $80. So that's pretty nice. And let's look and see exactly what it comes with. It comes with this beautiful cloth poster, I must say. Soundtrack CD, not digital. It comes with 2 different art books. It comes with the game itself, it comes with this box set, and then it comes with character cards down there too, which to me is a pretty decently sized collector's edition, if I do say so myself. And while we're here over on the NES Store, I thought that I would just give you a little reminder that Disgaea 7 Vows of the Virtuous is coming out on October 3rd in North America, October 6th over in Europe, and there is still some stock available for their collector's edition as well. There's only 25% of their stock left on this, so if you want to grab this, it's probably going to be sold out by the time that the game itself actually releases, so now is the time to grab this. This one's $100, so it's a little bit more than Legend of Legacy one that we just saw, but it comes with more stuff. It comes with this like really cool like foldable character portrait thing. It comes with 2 art books, The Art of War, that's nice. It comes with a dual soundtrack. It comes over here with this little like mug or cup. It comes with a game and a steel case and a huge box along with it too. So you can always count on NES to make these fantastic collector's editions that don't cost $350. There's another version that I think costs $165, and it comes with everything else, but it also comes with these 2 plushies. Comes with the plush of Fuji and Perillica. If you want a review of this game, I put one out just the other day. If you want my opinion on it, be sure to check out that video as well. Let me just double check how much it costs with $159. Okay, so it's $100 without the plushies. It's $160 with the plushies. So 2 different versions right there. And I will say, I do like Fuji's hair. I cannot get over how cute his hair is right there, I must say. Now let's talk about what's going on with Xbox as well as what's going on with Sony. We have 2 different things happening, kind of at the same time, but kind of going in 2 different directions. Phil Spencer, the boss of Xbox, promises more exclusives like the Xbox 360 had, like JRPGs, specifically Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey. In an interview with Game Watch, he was asked whether the company would publish more big-budget Japanese games, such as the Xbox 360 RPGs Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey. His answer, "You can count on it," Spencer replied, while also name-dropping the rhythmic action slasher Hi-Fi Rush as an example of a recent Xbox published game to come from a Japanese developer. It says, speaking of Hi-Fi Rush though, a recent leak claimed that the team would happily be tackling a JRPG next. Japanese creators are also part of the Microsoft Game Studio, Spencer continued. And although there are some titles that cannot be announced yet, we are working with Japanese teams to develop new games. The development environment is growing, including first and third party, so I think that we can expect more Japanese titles to appear in the future. Holla frickin' Luya! Man, that's all I can say there. I did not buy an original Xbox because no JRPGs. I bought an Xbox 360 because if you looked at what the Xbox 360 had compared to what the PS3 had at the same time, the Xbox had exponentially more JRPGs than the PS3 did at the time. At the end of that console generation, the PS3 blew the Xbox 360 out of the water, I mean, as much as a PS3 can, but then the Xbox One came around, and now X and S, and there's really nothing exclusive there. So hopefully, this guy isn't just talking out of his ass, and hopefully what he says will come to fruition, and maybe we'll get like a Lost Odyssey 2, or a sequel to Blue Dragon, or something else. Hopefully he's not just talking about Metaphor, which we already know is coming out, and we also already know that that's not exclusive. Hopefully we're actually going to see something that will make buying an Xbox worth it to someone like me, who exclusively only plays JRPGs. Sony's president and CEO, Jim Ryan, is to retire in March of next year. He has been with Sony since 1994. He's been with them since pretty much they began their gaming division, since they began doing the PlayStation. So he's been there for 30 years, so much respect to him for that. He wasn't always in charge, though. So I personally myself don't really focus too much on like the behind the scenes goings on, internal politics of gaming. To me, I'm much more focused on games, and are the games any good? That's really where my focus is. So as far as him being a good or bad CEO, I am not exactly the biggest authority on. I do know this, though. I do know that he shut down a lot of the Japanese studios, which is where a lot of the games that I like came from. And I also do know that he shut down a lot of these smaller, more riskier projects, games that I probably would have liked, in favor of focusing on more like Marvel superhero blockbustery type titles like Spider-Man or Batman or whatever that I just don't play. So, like, the thing is that you don't know who's going to replace him. You know, he's the devil that you do know, but then there's going to be a devil that you don't know coming in to replace him. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? So this could be good news for us. This could be bad news for us. We also know that he made Sony's profits skyrocket. And Sony is a business, and they're not going to replace somebody who makes their profits skyrocket with somebody who's like, oh, I don't care about the profits, I only care about the gamers. That's never in a million, billion, trillion years ever going to happen. So, I don't know how to feel about this. I am currently just apprehensive about the whole thing and where it goes. Xbox is looking a little bit better right now as far as their messaging, but I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach as far as PlayStation is concerned for right now. And now for our final story and some news of the weird. Did you know Gaming has restored a long-lost Pokémon browser game from the year 2000? This was kind of like a point-and-click adventure sort of game that you can go around in, and you could choose your team of 3 Pokemon. You could also choose your difficulty level, and then you could go through and you could use like Charmander's fire to like melt ice, or another Pokemon to like freeze freeze water or whatever, and you just go through and you don't really battle. I guess you kind of like solve trivia, or you solve various puzzles and stuff in this little browser game. It's just fascinating. This was only available back in the day for about 1 month until Nintendo got wind of it. Okay, so Nintendo said, hey, Warner Brothers, we want you to promote Pokemon, and we want you to make a game. Then Nintendo realized, oh my gosh, they made a better Pokemon game than we actually made at the time. We can't possibly have that. So then Nintendo ceased and desisted their very own game that they contracted out for Warner Brothers to make. The whole thing is just absolutely ridiculous, but now it has been uploaded to the Internet Archive, and if you want to play it, it is available for playing. I just watched the video up above at Did You Know Gaming, and they said it only lasts about 10 or so minutes, but you can go through and you can play with a different team or a different difficulty level, and you can go to the various islands in whatever order you want to, so there is some replayability there if you are interested in that. I just thought that this was such an odd story, and it is Pokemon, so it's kind of up my alley, so I figured, you know what, this is something I definitely gotta cover, because I like covering these just kind of like weird, esoteric, strange stories. I like covering stories about games that I like, about upcoming games, and then about weird stories like this. I don't really so much like covering stories about, you know, behind the scenes drama at Xbox and Sony and stuff, but stuff like this, I love covering, because it's just, it just tickles my fancy. I just really like it. So anyway, that's it for this week's new RPG news. Hope that you really enjoyed it. Let me know what you found interesting. Let me know if there's anything else that you want me to cover. And as always, have a good day.